This series is written chronologically. If you are new to the series, you must start at Season 1, Episode 1. Thank you. The Blood-Drawn Chronicles, Season 5, Origins Unveiled, was written by Michael Bradley and produced by DigiFox Studios. If you'd like to contribute towards our next season, titled Season 6, Symphony of the Osprey, please visit www.patreon.com/TBDC and take advantage of the awesome perks we have available. We want to take this time to thank Lord Saunders from www.lordsaunders.com for the wonderful audio mastering of the episode you're about to enjoy. As always, thank you for listening, and now our story begins.
I let 3 hours pass since I had left Mr. Myrick's room. Previous cases had come to prove 3 hours measured to be enough time given for a patient as severe as Alannah to come around. Therefore, I entered her room at the far end of the east wing once more in search of pure truth. What I got instead, well, it would prove to astound and bewilder. It began as routine as I ever so grew to expect it. I entered the room to a quiet and compliant patient, strapped and shackled, yet free of mind and dull of spirit, and thus finally capable of following conventional procedure. I began by saying, "I see we're feeling better, Miss Alannah. Good. Let's not waste time, shall we? I'm going to ask you a series of preliminary questions to get us started. Do you understand me?" I remember her not saying a word, simply just nodding her head slightly while staring at the ceiling, which of course to me was a sufficing yes. Thus I continued. Good. Let us begin then. First question, what is your full name?
Alannah Alora.
Good. What is your hair color?
Blonde.
Yes, and your eye color?
Blue.
Excellent. Now, how about your favorite color?
Blue.
Oh my God! The serum finally worked!
You'd think, but here's where things begin to take a turn for the worst. You're doing very well, dear. Now, how about your age? Can you tell me how old you are? What's wrong?
I don't know.
You don't know how old you are?
No, I'm sorry, but I don't even know what age we're in.
What age we're in? My dear, it's 1690.
1690? What does that mean?
You can't be serious.
Sorry, but I'm afraid I'm lost as to the timeline of this world.
Very well. I shall indulge you this once. It is 1,690 years passed since the time of our Lord Christ. So when around that number were you born?
I don't know. I was born on the first quarter of the Silent Star, 1011 AVE.
AVE.
After Valpyr extinction. I was born 1,011 years after the extinction of the first Valpyr.
God damn it. To this day, I can't recall why, Mr. Finley, but for some reason beyond me, I dared to ask, how did you first meet Mr. Myrick?
We first met when he unlocked me from the Hylifix.
The what now?
The Hylifix. It's a prison meant to contain immortals. It looks sort of like a...
A golden cylinder.
Yes, exactly. A golden cylinder.
Of course. A bit confused there, are we, Mr. Finley?
Forgive me, sir. It's just...
Hylylf. FX. That's how you spell it, apparently. Though in terms of pronunciation, think of an amalgamation of the words high, low, and fix.
Thank you, sir. How did you...
You can thank Miss Alora for that one.
Right, sir.
Yes, apparently Miss Alora's language comprises of only a 20-letter alphabet. Anyhow, where were we?
Let's see. The cylinder was a prison, sir.
Ah, yes. The bloody cylinder prison.
Is everything all right, sir?
Yes, Mr. Finley. I was just figuring a clear way to explain the following.
Well, sir, if I may, layman's terms have yet to fail.
Right, but I fair put wage that laymancy will reach its limit before tale's end on this one.
Very well then, sir. How about proceeding step by step then? I shall try my hardest to follow.
All right.
Wonderful, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Fair. From what I was told by Miss Alannah Allura, the Starlight Elves had once hunted the Valpyr to near extinction. Once that happened, they bookmarked the event in time. Thus, Alannah Allura was born 1,011 years after that point.
So far I follow, sir.
Good, because here is where it gets interesting. Apparently, after over 1,000 years, without so much as a mention of the word Valpyr, one day our dear Miss Allura runs into an entire pack of them. Are you still following?
Aye, sir. But just how did this event happen to occur?
Well, supposedly, the little princess was arranged to be married to a prince she despised on her birthday. Days before said arrangement were to come true, she ran away from home into the dark woods where nobody dared enter. Venturing deep into the dark woods, she accidentally fell through an abysmal, well-hidden hole in the ground. She fell a great distance until she once again found ground.
I take it, deep under the earth she found the Valpyr.
Precisely. The monstrous creatures of legend were back, and in great numbers, mind you.
How then was she able to escape?
Quietly. And using her wits properly, she made it out of where she was without ever once drawing attention. The whimsical part of her tale was that at the time she didn't know what she was trying to escape from. She simply knew it looked frightening, and she was heavily outnumbered.
Most intriguing. What followed?
She would come to be reunited with her father later, and would come to explain her finding with him. Her father, King Fallon, believed her story based on her description of the creatures. He had been one of the few old enough to remember the Valpyr well. He sent a party of his bravest to investigate the location she provided. They never returned. Then he sent yet another party to retrieve them. They never returned either.
Fascinating.
I'm glad you're able to perceive the story well enough to draw opinion, because here's where complications arise.
I doubt there are any complications too difficult for me to comprehend. In fact, if I may, sir.
Go on.
Thank you. I believe I know where this story is headed.
Oh, do tell.
Aye, sir. Being that Prior yourself had stated that Alannah informed you that, and I quote... Let me see. Here we are. It was then we discovered that when they feed on us, they went through the ultimate metamorphosis. They were no longer creatures with dragon wings, bat heads, and lion bodies. After devouring us, they looked like us, they walked like us, they had turned into white-skinned, red-eyed, abominable reflections of us, and they grew uncontrollably until we were outnumbered. Due to this, I believe that the Valpyr's heavy numbers grew more with the newly transformed Valpyr as the majority figure. I also believe, from an analysis of context clues, that they took them by surprise somehow, successfully storming King Fallon's castle.
Why, you are absolutely correct, Mr. Finley.
Thank you, sir.
You are very welcome.
So then, sir, what pray tell happened after all of that?
Well, after the Valpyr were successful in penetrating the castle, the king made a difficult choice. He knew the Valpyr would not stop their killing spree until there was no one left alive. With a heavy heart, he took and imprisoned his family, one by one, in hylofixes, so that the Valpyr would not harm them. According to Alannah, her father's plan was to flee if the last of the forces failed, carrying his entire family safely tucked within his purse.
Good God, sir. Could you imagine if Miss Olaura's story was real? Being trapped in a thing like that for hundreds, no, thousands of years, all because something went wrong? Such isolation for so long, it would drive a person insane beyond repair.
Let's not begin to think we could even bother to comprehend the complexity of what even comprises a hylofix.
I'm sorry, but you just sounded as if you believed this thing were real.
Yes, one could only imagine what torment the mind would go through in millennia of solitude and darkness. Fortunately for Alannah, her father prepared for the worst.
Prepared how, sir?
On Miss Alora's person was a golden necklace with a large golden star pendant. She called that the Siren Star. Her father had put one around the necks of each of his family before their imprisonment. I can't say for myself that I understand exactly how it worked. No matter how many times she tried explaining it to me, I didn't seem to fully grasp it. But somehow, the star had the ability to sing Alannah to sleep whenever she awoke from the cylinder. Not only did it place her back to sleep, but it also erased her memory to the point just before her imprisonment.
Fascinating.
Indeed, but what made things further fascinating, if you will, was the increasing correlation of Mr. Myrick's side of the story in relation to hers.
Fascinating.
Hold off on using that word for a while. It won't mean much if you continue, and we're only halfway, mind you.
Aye, sir.
Good. Shall we continue?
Fresh ink at the ready, sir.
Excellent. Now then, Mr. Myrick, what an issue we had the third time around.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, comment, and, most importantly, subscribe. Don't feel like waiting until next week for the next Blood Drawn episodes to release? No problem. You can get access to all the episodes of this season now for just a $5 pledge on Patreon.